Hello, this video is on how to access the American Community Survey data. That is the ACS data. So I'm going to explain like how the ACS data is being there are like basically two types of ACS data. So we have the micro data and we have the macro data. So first of all, like the ACS data is being collected by the US Census Bureau. And for the micro data, so basically what this means is individual level data. That is like, for instance, I want to look at educational attainments of persons, or I want to look at, let's say, their monthly income. So why the macro level data is getting things at the contextual level, for instance, at the zip code level, county level, state level, or the national level. So for you to access the micro data, that is the individual level data. So one of the ways we would access the data is via epumps.org. So I'm going to visit epumps and show you what it looks like. So first of all, this is not the only way to access the micro level ACS data. So if you see this says ACS micro data from 1850 to the present, so they have a very large data set. They also have other data sets on EPUM's website, but right now what we care about is this EPUM's USA, which is same thing as American Community Survey data or ACS data. So remember, we are still trying to see how we can get the micro or individual level data. So the website is quite explanatory. You click on get data. But first of all, I would advise you to do well to create an account. If you see this as welcome Joseph for you, you might have something different. You probably have to click on account, then it tells you to maybe log in. For me, it shows log out. So right now I'm logged in. You will need to create an account before you can actually download the micro level data. So eventually you're going to see a point where you would probably ask me to log in again. And if you don't have an account, you'll be able to access the data. So on clicking the website, so when it brings you to this, then you select the variables that you want. So let me hover around this person. And for instance, I'm interested in demographic. I click on demographic and I have different demographic variable. So based on your research question or what you are trying to explore would depend on the variable you are going to search for. You can always use the search button to get the variable also. Let me click on this sex first of all. So you see there's a description of the data. This is the code. It shows me that, okay, 1 means male, 2 means female, so that when you are coding it in R, you understand what does 1 mean or what does 2 means. So it shows you comparability. This doesn't have any. It says all persons. Universe is basically who are the persons that were basically asked these questions. So that means everybody who filled this American Community Survey was basically asked their sex. And you could check different tabs, but the two most important tabs you need to check is the code tab and the universe tab to basically know what each number represents. And also looking at the universe, that's the target audience of who the question was asked from. So from this, other things you could do is just look at case count as a number. So just from a glance, you can see that there are more females than male. This is just looking at this from a glance. So we don't necessarily need this. Return to demographic variable list. We select sex, we select age. Let's say I want to go to another category and I want to pick education and I care about, say, educational attainment. I pick education. For instance, I care about income. I pick total income. So let's imagine I have picked all of my desired variables. So right here it's showing me I have selected 5 variables and 0 sample. The reason it's showing me 0 sample is because I haven't selected my preferred year for the data that I want. So here it's showing me the data is available for 2021, 2016, 2011, When you see these dots, it means the data is not available for that particular year. For me to select my sample, I come here. It's going to show you automatically click on this for you, but it's best you unclick this so you have the choice to pick whatever you want. So the ACS data, that is the micro data, has options for you to pick 1 year file or 5 years file. So 1 year file is me picking 2019, 2018, 2017, 16, and 15. So this is me picking for 5 different years. However, you might probably want to get like a larger data set, and just instead of picking for 5 different years, you just pick for this ACS 5. So this shows me that I'm picking 2018, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015 data. So it depends on your research question that will determine what particular year of data you want to pick. And also, when I submit sample selection, it shows me I have 1 sample. And imagine I am done with all my samples for selection. I click on view cart. When you click on view cart, you could basically add more variables or add more samples. Let's try to add more samples until I want to add the 2018 ACS data 5 years. I click on submit sample selection and you click on create data extract. You could give it whatever description you want to use. So let's click on this, let's say example. Let's say I want to do that, then all of this is, let's say you want to select, let's say just female or just male, but you might not need to do all of this here because in R, you could always clean your data to select whatever variable or column you want to select. So you click on submit extracts. For me, it's not going to ask me to log in again because I did log in earlier. So you might see a different interface. This will take a while for this to process. So I'm going to pause the recording now and continue when it's ready. Now it shows that the data is available for download. So you're going to see this tab says completed. You're most likely going to get an email and that the data is actually available, or you could keep loading this URL. It's going to show you. Yep. So first thing you want to do is you want to get your code book. This is the code book tab. You click on this DDI. Click on the DDI. If you are using a Windows laptop, try to press Control P. That is, you want to, as though you want to print the document. If you are using a MacBook, you are going to use Command P. So when I do this, I try to save it as a PDF. So this is my code book here. The reason why you want to have your code book and on your laptop is because let's say you downloaded the data. I downloaded just 5 variables. I might not always want to come to the website to always check what each variable meant when I'm trying to do my analysis. That is why you want to always download your code book. I click on download. So this is in my download. You could probably download this wherever you want to download this. This is saved. So you could always double confirm that it's actually properly saved. So I have this in my download. Yeah. So it says I have it in my download. And try to go back. So first thing you want to do is you want to hover around the DDI. This time around, you are not clicking it. You want to hover around the DDI. When you ensure that your cursor is on the DDI, try to right click on it. You are going to see different options. Then download linked file as. So I'm going to take it again. So try to hover around the DDI, ensure your cursor is on the DDI, right click and download linked file as. When you try download linked file as, you see that this is in my downloads. So try to pay attention to this number. It says 0019 XML. After that is downloaded, then I try to download this file. So you can't just download this file and not download this file. You have to download both. And I download this file also. Now that is downloaded, that is it downloaded in my directory. You click on this Command R, it tells you how you can run the data in R. So if you are using Stata, you probably have to click on the probably Stata or something. Then you go to your R Studio. So first off, you try to create a new arrow markdown. So this is how to create a new arrow markdown. Let me just create something, and I try to delete all of this because they are not needed. But I already created a R markdown, so I don't need to create one again. So this is, remember we said we are doing the micro version for the data first of all. One thing you want to do is that you want to hover your cursor around here and look at what are the things I have here. So the things that you have here are the things that are on your laptop. So as to ensure that we don't run into error when we're reading the data, one thing I want you to do is whatever you have here, if you are satisfied with the directory, this is my own documents and others. I could decide to change this to documents or whatever directory, but this is others. So this is where it was. You could decide to change it. So first thing you want to do is to click on more. When you click on more, then you click on copy folder paths to clipboard. You don't need all of this, but the reason why we are doing this is such that when you run this on your laptop, you don't run into error. Copy folder paths to clipboard. I copy this part, then I try to paste it here. Whatever this gives you, whatever you copy, when you click on more, when you copy folder path to clipboard, whatever you paste here, that is what you are going to copy and replace it with what is here. Replace it with what is here. So make sure you have the inverted comma like you have this here. So make sure whatever you have here for your laptop, it might be different. It might not show this. Whatever you have that is copied, that is what you are putting here. So this is it. This is just, let me try to copy parts here. So I did comment this out. So let me just also comment this. Now, when you are done with that, so first of all, you try to locate this folder on your laptop. So I know this is my home, document order. So this is my home. This is my home. This is documents, and this is others. So what I want to do is to remember that this is 19 that I downloaded, right? The number says 19. But when I downloaded this data file, they were on my downloads, not on this other folder. So you try to copy this. I copied this. I copied this. So look at this. I'm copying this .dat file extension and the .xml file extension. I try to copy them. And I want to ensure that they are in the same file directory. They're in the same directory of these that I have here. Copy both of them. Click on my document, click on my orders. This might be a different folder, your desired folder, then I paste them here. So notice it is USA 19, USA 19. Try to come here to search for it. Notice I have it, USA 19, USA 19. If you do not have this in the same folder, most likely it's not going to work. This line of code here, you probably don't need it, but I could just run this. So first thing is I run this code. Make sure you run this, set your working directory. Now I ensure that everything is in the same place. You could run this code. You might not need to run this library. Yeah, you don't need to run this library right now. I'm not running the library. This is the library that you really need. EPUMs R. Now, when I clicked on, remember that when I click on this arrow thing, it gave me a direction of what to do. If you read this, it tells you if you don't have EPUMs R, install it. So one thing you could do is click on, copy this here. Remember how I got this was just click on R. I click on R, I copy this. Then you copy this. I have this installed already, but I'm not going to put it in my R markdown. I'm just going to put it here. Let me install it again. Install the packages EPUMs R. It's going to install itself. on your laptop. Make sure you have it installed. By the time you have it installed, you only need to do this once. I'm doing this again just for the sake of showing. You don't need to do this a lot of time. You might, depends, but just do this once. Then you load your library EPUMs R. Then go back to this. Then you have to like copy this. So I copy this. This is what I have here. So let me create a new code chunk. Copy this. Now remember, whatever is here, DDI must be the same thing that is here. Now, this is actually your original data frame. Let's say you don't want to call this data, you want to call this DF. I could decide to call this DF, I decide to call whatever, but let's leave it as data, whatever name. So then you run this. It automatically runs the data by itself. You don't need to do anything. It's going to take a while. It's going to be two stuff. You have to have DDI here, and you also have like the data variable. Now, sometimes some people run into error even when everything is correct and they're unable to still run in their data. That is why you would probably have to copy this line of code. Sometimes you copy this line of code. This is taking a while and it's almost ready. Shows the percentage 90. Here we have it. So sometimes if this doesn't work, you might just want to copy this also and paste it here. So make sure whatever name is here is the same name that is here. So I can run this just in case to ensure that things are working fine. Sometimes when you run things, some things might come into like some error, but like I'll just advise you safe to also run this line of code to ensure things are smooth in the long run. So now that we have this, so let me just take this off. So this is how to get your individual level data. And from there, you're going to be using your R knowledge on whatever analysis you want to run. So why is this showing me a blank somewhere blank? Okay, so let me show you how to work on the macro level data. Remember I said we have micro and we have macro level data. So to get the macro level data, so this is what we are going to do. Before we go to the contextual data, so one of the things you might notice when you load this data is, let me try to clean this up. When you load this, because it's a very large data set, so it might take a while to open. So look at when I clicked on this, it's just blank. So you probably have to like click on another tab and wait for some minutes. Then, sometimes it takes some minutes. So let's just look at it and we'll see how eventually we have the data. So don't fret in case you do not see the data immediately. So it takes a while for you to see it sometimes. So now that we've learned how to get the micro level data, so the next thing is, how do we get the macro level data? That is the data at like county level, state level, or zip code level. So first thing you need to do is to go to, this is one of the ways to get the data, right? So you go to APIcensus.gov. So you could download the data manually from uscensus.gov data, but it's kind of easier and faster to download the data or get the data with an API. So getting the data with an API means you sort of have a communication which your laptop is communicating with a particular website, and it's like an automated way to actually access the particular information. So you go to this website, you have to create an account, you submit your organization name. So that's the name of your university or whatever organization, and your email. This could be your personal email or whatever email you want to use. Agree to terms and condition. They send you your API key. Now make sure that the API key is something that you have private. It's not something you share with people, because it could be tracked with what you use your API for. So imagine you have your API in your email. You could either start the email or like you could bookmark it somewhere. Let's say you have your API already. I have my API already. So this is we getting the contextual data, that is the macro level data. What you basically need, the library you need for that is tidy sensors. So tidy sensors library is actually done or was created by this person called Kai Walker. So, and we are going to look at some of his resources eventually. So it was when we created the tidy sensors library. So what you need basically is this tidy sensors library. You don't need this SF library and this TMAP library, but you could also have this tidyverse. It's helpful for like data cleaning. So in case you don't have the tidy sensors package on your laptop, just do install the packages, click on it and write tidy sensors. So this is one way to do that. So you run this. I'm not going to run this because I have it installed already. So installing a package is something you do once. So another way to manually install a package is just click on package, search for it, tidy. It's going to tell you if you have it already. So it says I have this already. So use tidy, load your library. You would have to do this just once. So anytime you want to do this again, you don't have to do this all the time. So you take away this comment line, and your API key that you get, insert it here and run this code. You are going to have access to the sensors API. You just need to do it once. Now, one thing about the sensors data is, for example, I've worked with this, so I'm showing you a demo of a project I've worked on. And this is me looking at the demographic profile. Let me take this away. This is me looking at the demographic profile of like the ACS. This is, remember, this is a contextual level data. So when you load this, when I load this, let me try to load it again. When I load this, if you click on this, this is just basically like a code book, but this is not very clear. You can't understand so many things. You can search and say population. It's going to show you relationship population. So it might not be easier for you to access the code book from R. This is just the demographic data file. Then you can't search. So whatever you are looking for, this is me looking at total population, right? You're searching. I could use below poverty level. Let me try using this first of all. So these are the codes that actually has total population in them. Whatever says P, P means the population. You would have E estimates. You have those that have E. I'm trying to, for some reason it's not showing. You might have those that have E and O. So, but for you to really understand or see the code book well, you could go to this website. So this is the macro level code book. This is the code book. So when you click on this is like the code book. It tells you what category. Let's say I want to get things on race. I try to say, it shows me B202008, B2009. Then let's say I want to get something on education attainments. So it tells me school enrollment by level of school. So this could either be at the state level or the county level, right? But I already did a search for this and I knew what this variable is. So that is why I am using this. So this project was me looking at those that are actually below the poverty level in San Antonio. So this code was trying to say, get ACS, the geography I want is zip code level. So let's say what you want is county or state. So I choose zip code level, ZCTA. I want just for Texas. I don't need to choose county because since I already chose zip code and I chose Texas and I want the year for 2019, and this is the variables I want. I want you to show me the poverty for the total poverty for this geography that I selected and also show me the total population and that. So if I run this, it gives me, but for you to know what this variable is, you can come to this website to search for it. I do that. I do some additional cleaning so as to get like the rate, do some division. And let me just run all of this code. So this is more than, so try to do some things behind the scenes. So see, I'm able to get the poverty level by zip code. I was able to do this without downloading any data sets. This is because I was able to connect with the API. So it takes you to know what you want to do, then search for it. You could use poverty here, search for it to get what you want. So this is one way to use Census API to actually get your data. Another way could be for you to actually download this data manually from US Census website. So if you go to this website, you can get like the data yourself. Try to load this again. So I click on so it tells you what do I want, the socioeconomic or demographic and housing. If I click on this, whatever you want, I could select, okay, I want things at county, I want for Texas, I want all of Texas, all counties within Texas, and what's the variable that I want to select. So this is, it shows me, if I search for this DP05 in R, I'm going to be able to get the variable I want. Then you probably pick maybe the year, then you also select the variable you want. Let's say you are satisfied with whatever you are trying to choose. It shows family arrangement variable. Let's say this is what I want. Try to pick, then I click on this, click on, I want either CSV or Excel or zip code. Could download the CSV. So this is downloaded already, and you can then run it in R. So, but this might be like a longer process, and you always have to like download the data all the time. You want to use the macro level data. So alternatively, in case you want to do something and you don't want to run any analysis, there's like an automated way to do things in US Census data websites. So this is, you just go without R. If you go to this website, let me try to click on this again. If I click on this and I try to, and I say go to census.gov, there's like an automated way. It says you could try poverty in San Antonio. So what the map I did, poverty in San Antonio in 2021. So this is the data. It's like so automated. You could look at the maps, shows you. So this is like a fancy. So most people that use this are like probably reporters who might not have so much of knowledge about programming and they just want to do something quick and dirty. So, but this might not give you the opportunity to try to, like, I mean, in that specific city you want, you probably want to change something and all. So this is one way to do that. But a very clear explanation of the macro level data is this website. Like I said, the library we use to actually reading the API data is owned by Kyle Walker. So Kyle Walker, this is explanation of the codes. So let's say you want to get for state, for the variables. So I would really implore you to read this particular website in case you want to work with macro level ACS data. It is very explanatory and it shows you like where to set things from and all. But for the most part, you probably are going to be working with individual level data. It depends on your unit of analysis for your project. And you will just have to go to EPOMS, ACS, and download the data. One thing to ensure so you don't run into error is ensure that your data you downloaded from the EPOMS website is in the same folder and your working directory is correct. Make sure your working directory is correct. So the summary of this is that you could download micro level and macro level data from EPOMS. Thank you.